All right, let's dive into one of the most complex, most fascinating modern myths you'll find on the internet. It's got everything: secret organizations, ancient aliens, and get this, a message left behind by our own descendants from the future. This is the story of the Wingmakers, and it's a theory that suggests our entire reality is not what we think it is. Not even close. The whole thing kicks off with a really personal, kind of unsettling question. Just think about it for a second. How many of the things you hold to be true about who you are, how the world works, your purpose in life, how many of those ideas did you actually come up with yourself? Or were they just given to you by your family, by the news, by the very culture you grew up in? Now, to really get a handle on just how big this idea is, the source material asks us to go back to something you might remember from philosophy class, Plato's allegory of the cave. You know the one. Prisoners are chained up their whole lives, facing a wall. All they can see are shadows, so naturally they think those shadows are reality. They have no idea there's a whole world of light right behind them. And look, this isn't just some abstract thought experiment. The Wingmakers theory proposes that we are those prisoners, that our reality, the one we experience every single day, is a carefully built illusion. We think we're free, but the chains are so subtle, so ingrained, that most of us never even notice they're there. And that brings us to the absolute core claim of this whole mythology, that humanity is living inside a kind of spiritual prison, a grand deception that's been specifically designed to keep us from ever realizing what we truly are. So, how on earth did that happen? Well, the backstory here is wild. It starts with the Anunnaki. You might have heard of them from ancient Mesopotamia myths, who supposedly created our physical human bodies to be a workforce. Then powerful, eternal souls, sometimes called Atlanteans, were tricked into inhabiting these bodies, and in that process, their consciousness got wired into the human nervous system, making them forget their divine origins and trapping them in an endless loop of reincarnation. It doesn't stop there. The theory claims that a lot of the systems we depend on for meaning, even major religions, were actually part of this deception. They were supposedly created to make us look for power and salvation somewhere outside of ourselves, to worship some external god, which keeps us from ever realizing that the divine power they're talking about is actually inside every single one of us. So you basically have these two states of being. On one hand, you've got the enslaved state, where we're trapped, we've forgotten who we are, and we feel powerless. But on the other hand, there's the awakened state, where we remember our true God nature, break free from that cycle, and take back our own internal power. The whole point of the Wingmaker story is to show us how to make that leap. Okay, so if this is all some massive secret, how would anyone ever find out? Well, this is where the story introduces a whistleblower and the super secret organization he escaped from. These are supposed to be the first cracks appearing in the wall of our cave. The organization at the heart of all this is called the ACIO, the Advanced Contact Intelligence Organization. And you gotta understand, this isn't your standard secret agency. This is a group so far off the books, it makes the CIA look like a public library. They supposedly have alien technology and information that's light years beyond what any government even knows exists. The whole story breaks into the public eye because of one guy, a scientist named Dr. Jamison Neruda. Back in the late 90s, he claimed he defected from the ACIO, risking his life to leak information about a discovery so huge it could literally change the future of humanity. And what was this incredible discovery? A site called Ancient Arrow. Neruda said this place, an unbelievable structure with 23 chambers carved in a perfect helix deep inside a canyon in New Mexico, was actually built way back in the 9th century. It was just sitting there, hidden, until some hikers stumbled upon it in 1972. By the 90s, the ACIO had swooped in and was running a top-secret project to figure out what was inside. And what they found inside, wow. It wasn't just weird gadgets or alien tech, it was this incredibly rich cultural treasure chest. Each chamber had these stunning, elaborate wall paintings, coded musical scores, poetry, super dense philosophy, and yeah, alongside all that, some seriously advanced unexplained technology. It was a time capsule, all right, but not like anything we could have ever imagined. So the big question is, who would build a place like this and why? This is where the story flips from the ancient past to the far, far future. According to Dr. Neruda, the creators called themselves the Wingmakers. And here's the twist. They weren't aliens, they were us.
Or, to be more precise, a highly evolved version of humanity from about 750 years in our future. They'd figured out time travel, and they came back to this specific point in time to leave this site as a gift, a message for their own ancestors. But this wasn't just some friendly hello from the future. This gift had a very specific and very urgent purpose. Neruda's leaked files claimed that the main function of the ancient Arrow site, and 6 others just like it scattered around the planet, is to act as a defensive weapon.
A weapon against what, you ask? A synthetic alien race called the Animus. The story goes that this race is soulless, and they see Earth as this perfect genetic library. Their big plan is to come here and harvest our DNA to build bodies for themselves that are capable of carrying souls. The WingMakers built this whole defensive network to protect us, to keep humanity from being discovered and used like that.
But here's the really mind-bending part. This isn't a weapon of bombs or lasers. It's a weapon of consciousness. The idea is that as we humans interact with the art, the music, the philosophy they left for us, it literally activates dormant parts of our DNA. This collective awakening then stimulates higher intelligence, new sensory abilities, and our awakened consciousness then resonates with the technology hidden in those sites, creating a planetary defense shield that can hide Earth from the Animus.
So when you boil it all down, the message is deeply philosophical. It's saying that we're all part of this universal, formless consciousness. Our individual lives, our forms, are like little probes that this greater consciousness sends out to learn and experience reality. It's a total reframing of what it even means to be alive.
And that brings us right back to where we started. The threat from the Animus is the external problem, but the real solution, the true purpose of this whole WingMakers message is internal. It's all about waking up.
So these materials, the art, the music, the writings, they're more than just a shield. They are the key to that prism we talked about at the beginning. They are the tools designed to help us remember who we really are, to see past the shadows on the wall, and to finally break free. And just when you think you've got it, the philosophy pushes you even further, challenging the very nature of time by suggesting that everything, past, present, and future, is all happening right now. So this isn't just a story about the future helping the past. It's about how all of existence is woven together in one single moment.
And that's really where this whole thing leaves us. Whether you see the WingMakers material as a genuine revelation, an elaborate work of science fiction, or a powerful modern myth, it ultimately leaves us with one massive question. If we've spent our entire lives believing the shadows are real, what incredible truth is waiting for us if we just find the courage to stand up, break the chains, and turn around to face the light?